Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Corelli. This is my YouTube channel or my Instagram. Thank you for coming to watch me paint. Я Sas, имя Катерина Corelli, Carosirte sto canalemo. Today I continue the Samos series of paintings, and this time, this is the third painting out of this series. Damn it. A year ago, I was going to make a whole series of paintings because my good friend Leonidas from Greece sent me a whole stack of photos, and a year ago I was kind of going to jump on this, and I couldn't get on this really because I had all these other things going on, and but a lot of time has passed, and here we are. I think I'll be kind of on this Samos series for a while, and like I was saying on my previous episode, this is because I like to have something going on slower, something that is kind of low pressure. Something that doesn't have the weight and the difficulty of my main two projects, which is the Sun City story and the Journey of Ia. I am sketching. I'm doing charcoal sketches, oil studies, pencil sketches for the Journey of Ia already, but these sketches and, draw-throughs and paint-throughs, they're all members only on my channel. And that is because there is artistic nudity. It's not always artistic nudity, but it shows up, and because it shows up, I don't want to be censoring everything over and over again and just kind of dancing around YouTube and its rules. So, like I was saying, I think a couple of weeks ago, this is the kind of content that is going to be members only. So of course I want to encourage you to, if you like what I'm doing here musically and artistically, and you want to support me, of course I want to invite you to join my members area here on this channel, and that way you will have access to all of my content. You will have extra features like badges and customized emojis, and I will be doing members-only live streams at some point. I will be also doing, however, all members live streams. I will be doing this. I have some ideas, actually. I have some ideas. I'm currently working on a song, Turquoise and Lazuli Courtyard. This is, by the way, the next single from the Sun City album. I'm working on this song already, and I'm kind of heavily working on it. Part of why I'm kind of late on this painting for this video, and why am I actually taking a slower sort of approach to painting, is because I also have to push the needle as far as the Sun City album. There is still a lot of work. I'm just halfway through. I released the last single, Arena Proving Grounds. It took me 2 months. And that was because of the event that I had last spring with the exhibition, that market, whatever was going on in Lexington. So I was just forced to take that time off because I just could not release music more often. It was impossible. And I had to physically just make a whole lot of frames and frame all of my paintings and get them ready and do all of those things. So I had to put music on the back burner. And then I thought that, well, now I'm going back to my regular schedule, and now I'm going to be releasing singles every month and that kind of thing. But that's not exactly how it works, because I kind of have to bounce between painting, drawing, doing studies, trying to develop my skills, which I will need to develop my skills a lot, because all the wonderful ideas that I have about Sun City and the Journey of Ia, all of this takes a lot more than I was starting out with a couple of years ago. I have to draw people. I have to focus and do studies of limbs and hands and heads and this kind of stuff. It all takes time. But then, I'm not gonna just zone out completely on music and just not do music. So as I was saying, I was waiting for a really good idea for this next single. I was looking for something special, something that would stand out, because it's not that I don't have ideas. I usually have ideas. It's no big deal. It's not that difficult for me to come up with musical ideas. It's pretty simple for me to make up melodies on the fly. A whole lot of melodies, in fact. But it takes some time to actually write something that, first of all, is more outstanding and has a unique kind of feel to it, and two, something that simultaneously fits the story, because I have the story and I'm writing a soundtrack to the story, and that's what Sun City album is. The story is already there. I know the story. So now I just have to create the music to support the story, and then also write the lyrics that would push the story forward, that would reflect what's going on in the story. And then, of course, there is all the technicalities of it, of recording all of this and mixing all of this, and it's a process of its own. But I'm just saying, all of it takes time, and I've allowed myself to just wait. See, the thing is, and that's something, by the way, that I wanted to talk about on this episode specifically, and I'm wondering if there are any people on my channel here who can resonate with this. I'm not quite sure, and I'm not going to say, because I'm not qualified, that this is an ADHD feature, or that this is due to PTSD, or that this is a feature of a traumatized brain. It very well might be. I suspect that there is a strong correlation between trauma and, especially recurrent trauma, and various excesses in behavior. I know that there are, but I'm wondering if there is a correlation between trauma and this particular behavior. So what I'm talking about is, I used to overperform all the time. I used to do this habitually, and I used to do this. It was my standard mode of living since I was very little. And it was sort of a habit, and I always felt that I'm pushed to do more and do things all the time, and that I have to be the best of the best of the best of the best. My parents wanted me to be the best of the best, and they were constantly pushing me, and frankly, now that I'm looking back, I realize that they had very unrealistic expectations. They had very unrealistic demands of me. And because I suffered from childhood trauma, that became my go-to response. And the thing is that I did not realize that I'm living in this survival mode, that I'm living in this overperforming, overreactive mode virtually all of my life. And I did not realize this until fairly recently. What also comes with this is overscheduling, overperforming, overpushing. So it's like, instead of just letting go of something or allowing time to chill, relax, breathe, recuperate, to do those things, because most of my life, up until very recently, maybe just up until this last year, I have not been able to relax. I have not been able to flip the switch and calm down. I still struggle with this. It's still difficult. I can't. I'm wired. By the way, I'm not taking any stimulants or anything like this. That's just how I am. And it was a mystery to me for a very long time, until maybe a couple of years ago, when I started digging in this direction and I started to realize the scope and scale of the traumatic experiences that I have endured. Because the thing is that I used to shut it all down. I used to run on autopilot a lot of the time. And basically, I was oscillating between dissociating, and I remember this dissociative state and how I just would disappear in my head since I was very little. I would either disappear or I would suffer prolonged periods of severe depression. It's either depression or another alternative to depression is being wired and hyperactive and trying to, in bursts, trying to push really hard and really far and trying to change something dramatically, knowing that I'm in a dangerous situation. And I've been in dangerous situations for a long time, and many times in my life when I was pushed to race out of that situation. And that felt better than depression, because depression is it takes the ground away from under your feet and you just can't. You're not motivated to do anything at all. You just want to lay down and die, or you don't want to wake up at all. You don't want to get out of bed. And you don't want to live. You don't have a reason to live. You just can't. It's very demoralizing. And then the third mode is dissociation, when you're just kind of on autopilot and you can't cry, you can't laugh, you can't relax, and you don't care, You kind of don't care because it's kind of a protective shield, and you're watching a movie about yourself. I used to live for months in this state, for whole months, and then go to months in depressive state. And this was the pattern in my life since I was very little. And, life was happening all the time, and I've been through quite a few things. And I started really to truly realize the scope and scale of what was happening to me and why I should snap out of this and get myself together just recently. Because, see, I always thought that somehow, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. I've endured so much, and that's okay. That's fine. That probably makes me stronger. Spoiler, no, it doesn't make you stronger. Trauma doesn't make you stronger. It breaks you, it bruises you, and then if you don't address what happened, and you don't snap out of this and you don't heal yourself, then you're living with that toxic damage that sits in you, and it's like a festering wound that continues to influence your decision making. But then one of the worst things is that you don't realize that you're living in survival mode and you're not really living. You can't live fully. You're kind of watching a movie, really, about yourself. And there's a level of detachment and there's a level of pain underneath all of this, shelved somewhere deep down. And you're kind of running away all the time from all of these things. And the reason why I mentioned scheduling and overperforming is that's exactly this. Because when you have internal chaos, which you didn't invite into your life, this is just, things happened to you and they were out of your control. You couldn't do anything about this, and you were hurt or you were damaged severely, and the best you knew was to just switch out check out completely. A schedule gives you a sense of stability, a sense of direction. But at the same time, scheduling might and can, and in my case it did, at some points, at some junctures, become a yoke. It can become very stifling. You put yourself into the schedule, then you can't back out of the schedule because everything starts to fall apart, you know? Until you truly start to heal, until you realize that you have to heal these old wounds. You have to release the trauma. You have to release pent-up stress and the emotions that you weren't expressing from basically all of your life. Then you start to realize that actually I can let go of things, and I don't necessarily have to force myself to adhere to this and that I can actually prioritize my well-being, and that will result in in higher creativity. This will result in better quality of art, better ideas, because I will be feeling better. So scheduling, overscheduling, and overfunctioning, these are horrible things. But it's only recently that I started to realize where does it all come from and why. It's kind of like, you know, seeing the bigger picture. It takes you forever to get there, but once you see it, you're like, damn it, I knew. I felt underneath. I knew that all of this is tied together. And I only wish I had come to these conclusions a lot earlier. I wish I had arrived to these conclusions 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and seen what I see today. Perhaps I would have been in a better place. Perhaps I would have, you know, but, you know, it is what it is. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And, you know, this is another painting. Join my membership program here on YouTube. If you admire my art, if you admire my music, and of course I want to invite you to go and check out my store. The link is in the description. Check out my store on Etsy and pick something for yourself. By the way, I have some prints. And here's another thing that I want to ask you. If you have a painting that you like, but you cannot afford the painting, the original, reach out to me and tell me that you want a print of that painting, and I will make the print available in my store. All right? So if there is a painting that you want, but you cannot afford it, tell me about that painting, and I will make that available as a print, at least. All right? Thank you very much for being with me, and until next time. Ciao.